Hello and welcome. We are on page number 31 of chapter number 4 dealing with exemptions from GST. In the preceding class, we have started this healthcare services which are exempt by virtue of entry number 46, 74 and 73 of the notification. We have done some analysis also, and we are into this page number 4.31 point number relating to the rent of rooms provided to inpatients. So the hospital, what it does is, in respect of some patients, they will be admitted into the hospital as inpatients, and they will collect treatment charges. Along with the treatment charges, they will also collect the room rent if they are inpatients. Now, the room rent collected from inpatients in the hospital is exempt, and it is also clarified by a circular number 27 dated 4th of January 2018. Next comes services provided by senior doctors or consultants or technicians. Let us assume that there is a corporate hospital. There is a corporate hospital, and let's name it as X Limited. This is a corporate hospital. Corporate hospital. Now what it will do is, it will recruit doctors. It will recruit doctors. Now, if the relationship between X Limited and the doctor is employee-employer relationship, if the doctor is employed with X Limited, then this will go under Schedule 3. And what the services are provided by the doctor to the hospital will neither be treated as a service, supply of service, or will neither be treated as supply of good, and so not subjected to GST. But at times what will happen is, the relation between the hospital and the doctor is not employee-employer. The relationship is by way of a consultancy. They are consultant doctors. Now for which they will be paid charges, and also they will be deducting TDS under section 194J wherever applicable. Means if it exceeds a threshold limit, TDS under section 194J will also be deducted. So now the doctors are providing services to X Limited. X Limited is providing services to the patients. Now here there is one supply. This is supply number 1, and this is supply number 2. Now what we need to understand is, both 1 and 2 are exempt. Both 1 and 2 are exempt. There is no doubt in it. Sometimes what will happen is, X Limited will collect from patients rupees 10,000 and pay to the doctor rupees 7,500. Right? Now what is the chargeability of this money retained by X Limited 2,500? Is it chargeable or not? It is also exempt. That you should understand. Okay. Next, coming to the next point. Now these things have been clarified by circular number 32 dated 12th of February 2018. Now this example also we have dealt with 2,500 rupees, means the entire 10,000 rupees which has been collected by the hospital is exempt, and this has been clarified to circular number 32 of the 32 dated 12th of February 2018. Next, sometimes it may so happen that food is supplied to the patients. Okay. Now if food is prepared by the patients, the food may be prepared by the canteens run by the hospital, or the canteen may be outsourced. So the supply of food can be categorized into two parts. What are those two parts? Those two parts is the canteen may be run by the hospital, run by the hospital, or the canteen may be outsourced. The canteen may be outsourced. Now, if the canteen is outsourced, what the service is provided by the outsourced person to the hospital, then this fellow will collect GST from the hospital. The hospital has to pay GST, and the hospital will not get any input tax credit, because whatever supply the hospital is making, it will be an exempt supply, therefore you can't get the input GST. Now, if the canteen is run by the hospital itself, then what will happen is, if it is provided to the patients, if the food is provided to the patients, then this will come under composite supply, means healthcare plus food. Healthcare plus food. Here what is the predominant service? Healthcare. This is exempt. So food will also be exempt. Now if the the canteen is run by hospital, and it is supplying food to attendants of patients, then this will be chargeable to GST. Chargeable to GST. Okay. Let us check it in the notes also. So when it is outsourced, the service, the GST will be charged by the canteen fellow, and it will have to be paid by the hospital. Hospital won't get any ITC. Now, food supply to inpatients is a part of a composite supply of a healthcare service, and not separately taxable. Now, if the food is supplied by the hospitals to not inpatients or their attendants or visitors, now this will be taxable, because for this they will pay charges separately, and this type of food supplied is not included in the bill of the inpatient. So food supplied to outpatients, food supplied to visitors or attendants are taxable. This has been clarified by circular number 32. Services other than healthcare services in clinical establishment. You have the definition of healthcare services. Now, if a clinical establishment is providing a healthcare service, then only this exemption will be applicable. Now, in respect of other services which have been provided by the clinical establishments, that such services are not exempted. On such services, GST is applicable and have to be paid. Now, what are the other types of services that may be provided by the clinical establishment? Renting of shops, means they have rented a shop to a medical store. This hospital in its premises has rented a shop or rented a room to the medical shop, which is run by any other person other than this clinical establishment. Or you have these auditoriums. If auditoriums in the premises of the clinical establishment are let out, it will be chargeable. If somebody displays advertisements in the clinical establishment, like some pharmaceutical company or some other person has displayed certain advertisement on the premises of the clinical establishment, for which the clinical establishment charges some money, then these type of money or supply of service is not exempt, and they are chargeable to GST. We have a note number 13 here. Now this point has been clarified. This point number 13, this point number 13 this point is clarified by the GST flyer, And coming to point number 12, what is the note given? Yeah, the view whatever he is expressed here is by way of circular number 32, but in order to come under the purview of composite supply, actually two or more taxable services should be provided. Now here, if healthcare is one service and food is another service, food here healthcare is exempted and food is chargeable. Now what is happening? Only one taxable supply is being provided. But to come within the purview of composite service as per section 8 and the definitions given there, the two or more taxable services are to be provided. However, this has been circular given by way of a circular which is binding on the department. Now coming to services provided by government, there are many number of entries in respect of services provided by the government. What we will do is we will go through first all the services which are provided by the government that are exempt. First we will go through them. Certain of the entries require certain further analysis and certain further explanation to understand. That we will discuss at a later point of our discussion in this session. So what are all the entries which are given in the notification, exemption notification of services given under section or issued under section 11 of the CGST Act? They are entry number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9C, 9D, 34A, 47, 61, 62, 63, 65, 65B, 74A. These are all the entries which are given in the exemption notification which relates to the services provided by the government. Now what we will do is we will go one by one. Mind you, the most important point to be understand is provided by the government. Means this is a output service to government. This is an output service to government. Okay. Now we have to go one by one. Service by government authority. We will understand the meaning of the government authority. It is defined at a later point of our discussion. We will understand the meaning and definition of government authority. What this government authority is doing? It is doing an activity. Generally, this activity has to be carried out by a municipality as per article number 243W of the Constitution. But instead of this municipality carrying out that function, a government authority has been set up separately to carry out or undertake such a function. Now, if that government authority for carrying out that function, if it collects some money, then it will be exempt from GST. The next one related to government authority is doing an activity in relation to the functions entrusted to Panchayat in article number 243G. We will also understand at a later point of our discussion what are the functions which are assigned to municipality under article number 243W, and we will also understand what are the functions that are entrusted to a Panchayat under article number 243G of our Constitution. Now what is happening? The function entrusted to Panchayat is being carried out by a separate governmental authority which was set up. That government authority is carrying out that function for which it is collecting some consideration, and that consideration is exempt. Now, services by central government, state government, union territory or local authority. Right? If the central government or state government or union territory or local authority is doing service, it is exempt. But four services are not exempt, because here the term used is excluding. If the term exclude is used and 4 points are mentioned, for the 4 points this exemption is not applicable. there are altogether 4 points which are not exempt. Therefore, in respect of these 4 points, this exemption is not available. What are the 4 points? Services by Department of Post. Department of Post is a central government department. Now, what are the services? Speed posts, express parcel posts, life insurance, agency services provided to any person other than central government, state government or union territory. So the services provided by Department of Post other than to central government, state government. If Department of Post is providing these services to central government, state government, union territory, then it will be exempt. But if it is providing to any other person other than these 4 people, central government, state, other than these 3 people, then GST is applicable. Now, the Department of Post may also be providing certain other services like a normal ordinary post or like a inland cover post or these money orders. So the Department of Post may be doing other services also, but the other services are not subjected to GST. Only speed post, expert parcel post, life insurance, agency services will be chargeable. That too other than a person of central government, state government or union territory. In relation to an aircraft or a vessel, we will also define aircraft vessel. Inside or outside the precincts of a port of or an airport. We will also define what do you mean by port and what do you mean by airport. Transportation of goods or passengers. If the government is transporting goods or passengers, like from goods trains or passenger trains, so this transportation of goods or passengers is not exempt. It is subjected to GST. So we can learn at some other place at what rates they will be chargeable. Any other services other than those covered in A to C means this Department of Post specified services and this carried out to a aircraft or a vessel in the precincts of a port of an airport, transportation of goods or passengers. Now, apart from this service, if any other service is provided by the government to a business entity, it is not exempt. If it is provided to a person other than business entity, it is exempt. But if it is being provided to a business entity, it is not exempt. It is subjected to tax. Now, entry number 7 wants to exempt small service providers. So, services provided by the government, state government, central government, local to business entity is not exempt by virtue of entry number 6. But entry number 7 states that if the aggregate turnover is up to 20 lakhs for the business entity, then point number A, B, C of 6 entry are chargeable, but point number D is not chargeable. And renting of immovable property is also not exempt, it is chargeable. So, in a nutshell, what we can say is service by central government, state government, union territory or local authority. Now here local authority has also come, but in the preceding entry number 6, there is no local authority. The main service has the local authority. Central government, state government, union territory or local authority is given here. For Department of Post, local authority is not included. Means if Department of Post provides service of a speed post, expert parcel post, life insurance to a local authority, it will be chargeable. It is not exempted. Now, if by virtue of entry number D, if service is provided to a business entity, it is not exempt. But entry number 7, what it says, if the turnover is up to 20 lakhs and 10 lakhs in respect of special category states, then there will be exemption. But the exemption is not applicable for point number A, B, C of entry number 6, that is the Department of Post, aircraft or vessel in the precincts of a port or airport, transportation of goods or passengers. For this, even though the business entity turnover is up to 20 lakhs, it is not exempt. Also, renting of immovable property is also not exempt. Apart from this, any other service provided by the government to the business entity, if the turnover is up to 20 lakhs in the preceding financial year, then it will be exempt. In special category states, the threshold limit is only 10 lakhs. Service provided by central government, state government, union territory or local authority to another central government, state government, union territory or local authority. Let us say the Andhra Pradesh government is providing or supplying service to Telangana government. Then the consideration charge is not subjected to GST. But for items given in point A, B, C of entry number 6, this entry number 8 is not applicable. So for other than services mentioned in point number A, B, C of entry number 6, any other service provided by a government to another government is exempt. Next, services provided by central government, state government, union territory or a local authority where the consideration for service does not exceed 5,000. Actually, entry number 7 what it does, entry number 6 what it says, if service is provided by a government it is exempt, but A, B, C, D of entry number 6 it is not exempt. What is point number D? Service of entry number 6, service provided to a business entity. If it is not a business entity, it is exempt. Now, if it happens to a business entity, what does entry number 8 say? If turnover is up to 20 lakhs, other than point number A, B, C of entry number 6 and this renting of immovable property, it is exempt. But if turnover exceeds 20 lakhs, if turnover exceeds 20 lakhs, then the exemption in entry number 7 is not applicable. Now 9 will come into play. So if government is providing a service to a business entity whose turnover in the preceding financial year exceed 20 lakhs or the 10 lakhs as the case may be, then if during the financial year the total amount charged does not exceed 5,000 by that government, then it will not be subjected to tax, it is exempt. However, this provision is not applicable to ABC of entry number 6. Next comes supply of service by government entity. We will define what you mean by government entity. To a central government or a state government or a union territory or a local authority or any person specified by government, state government, union territory or local authority against consideration received from central government, state government, union territory or local authority in the form of grants. In the form of grants. So the supply of a service is made by a government entity to central, state, union or local authority or any other person as may be specified by the central, state, union territory or local authority against a consideration received, so in the form of grants. So government, this entry is dealing about government grants. Government grants may be received by the government entity or any other person that have been specified by central, state, union or local authority. It is exempt. Next, 90. Service of an old age home run by central government or state government or entity registered under 12A of the Income Tax Act and that too for services provided to residents above the age of 60 years or more. The consideration to should not exceed 25,000 per month per member, and it should be inclusive of boarding, lodging and maintenance. If all these conditions are satisfied, then the it is exempt. Next comes supply of service by central government, state government, union territory. Here you don't have local authority. To their undertakings or PSUs by way of guaranteeing the loan taken by such undertakings or PSUs from the banking company and financial institutions. So central government, state government, union territory provided guarantee for loans taken by their undertakings or public sector undertakings, right? Next comes services, because for providing guarantee there may not be consideration, but still if they happens to be related persons, then what will happen is, as per schedule 1, certain activities or transactions though not made for consideration are deemed to be supply, and the value has to be valued as per valuation rules under section 15, and GST is payable, but here you get an exemption. Service provided by central government, state government, union territory or local authority by way of registration required under law for any law, under any law for time being in force, testing, calibration, safety check, certification relating to safety of workers, consumers, public at large, including fire license required under any law for time being in force. So central government is registering somebody for which registration fees is received in respect of these activities, then it will be exempt. The registration fees may either be collected by the central government, state government or union territory or local authority. Service provided by central government, state government, union territory, local authority by way of issue of passport. For passport, fees is collected, exempt. For issue of visa, fees is collected, exempt. Driving license, birth certificate or death certificate, exempt. Right? Next, service provided. Now here only the provided by central government, state government, union territory, local authority. So let us say US embassy or consulate is issuing visas. Yes, they collect visa fees. That visa fee collected is not exempt under section 61. Sorry, not 61, entry number 61. There may be other exemption which may be given in any other paras of or points of the notification, but certainly not under this para of this notification. Services provided by central government, state government, union territory, local authority by way of tolerating non-performance of a contract, for which consideration will be in the form of liquidated damages, which is payable to central government, state government, union territory or local authority under such contract. We will understand this particular point maybe in the next class. In the analysis part we are going to learn this or understand this point in a better way. Coming to entry number 63, services by central government, state government, services by central government, state government, union territory, local authority by way of assignment of right to use natural resources to an individual farmer for cultivation of plants, rearing of animals of all forms except horses. And why are they doing agriculture or all forms of animals other than horses? They are doing it for food, fiber, fuel, raw material or similar products. So government has assigned a right to use natural resources to an individual farmer For cultivation of plant, let us say there is some government land. There are some tribal people. The tribal people have allowed, the government has allowed the tribal people to rear animals in the forest, right? Now, if such a license to use the natural resources is given to that individual farmer, either for cultivation or for rearing of animals, and for which the central government he is collecting some cess or tax, that will be exempt. Services provided by central government, state government, union territory, here local authority is not there. By way of deputing officers after office hours or on holidays for inspection or container stuffing or such other duties in respect to import export cargo, and the consideration paid is merchant overtime charges. So merchant overtime charges collected by the central government, state government or union territory is exempt. Next comes entry number 65B. Services supplied by state government to excess royalty collection contractor by way of assigning the right to collect royalty on behalf of the state government on the mineral dispatched by the mining leaseholders. Now here there are three parties. Here there are three parties altogether. Who are the three parties? One is the state government. The first party is the state government. The second party is excess royalty collection contractor. The third party is the mine contractor. The mine contractor. Now, this fellow, why is he appointed by state government? To collect a royalty from this mine contractor. This fellow will collect the royalty and remit it to the state government. Now, here GST is to be paid by the mine contractor to the government. Now, here the supply of a service between these two people, it is exempt. To what extent it is exempt? To what extent it is exempt? Here you have to check what is the GST payable, what is the GST payable by excess royalty collection contractor. You have to quantify the amount payable by this fellow. Now you have to check what is the amount paid by this fellow. What is the amount of GST paid by the mine contractor. So first you have to ascertain these two amounts. Now this amount of GST which is paid by the mine contractor should be greater than the GST payable by the ERCC. Then it is exempt. Yes, it will be exempt only to the extent of GST amount paid by the mine contractor. For the difference amount is not exempt in the hands of the excess rent collection, excess royalty collection contractor. Okay, so that is what here it has been mentioned. And what do you mean by mining leaseholder? Means a person who has been granted mining lease, quarry license or license under other mineral concessions under the Mines and Minerals Development Act 1957 or rules made thereunder. Next, to the last entry relating to services provided by the government, it is entry number 74A. Service provided by rehabilitation professionals recognized under the Rehabilitation Council of India Act by way of rehabilitation therapy or counseling and such other activity as covered by the said act at medical establishments, educational institutions rehabilitation centers that are established by central government, state government, union territory, or an entity registered under 12AA. So, there is a medical establishment or educational institution or a rehabilitation center. Any of these medical establishment, educational institution or rehabilitation center has been established by central government, state government, union territory or a 12AA registered entity under the Income Tax Act 1961. What they are doing? They are providing some rehabilitation therapy or counseling. Who is providing? The rehabilitation professionals who are recognized under the Rehabilitation Council of India, they are providing. For which the government entity, the entity of medical establishment, education institution, rehabilitation center, which is established by the government or 12AA registered entity is collecting some consideration. That consideration is exempt from GST. Now, all these entries, what we have done is we went through those entries. At the time of going through those entries, what we have done is we try to understand the meaning of those entries to certain extent, but we left out certain explanations, or we left out certain analysis, or we left out certain definitions in respect of certain terms which were included in those entries. So these are all the entries just we have covered. Now we'll go into the analysis part or the definition parts which appear for the terms that appear in the above referred points of the exemption notification for services, which is issued under section 11 of the CGST Act. Now, what do you mean by business entity? Means any person carrying out business. Now, the business we already understood the definition in chapter number 2 or 3, or both in chapter 2 and 3. What do you mean by government authority? At places we came across the term government authority. What do you mean by government authority? Means an authority or a board set up by any act of by the parliament, means set up by any central government or state government, established by any government. There first of all there should be an act through which this authority or board or any other body has been set up, and 90% or more of participation by way of equity or control to carry out any function entrusted municipality 243W 243G for panchayats. This is government authority. Now we will go to government entities. The definition will be same. The 1, 2, 3 paras are same. Fourth para is also same. But here, to carry out the functions entrusted by the central government, state government, union territory or local authority. Now, in entry number 6, point number B, we came across the term aircraft and airport. So what do you mean by an aircraft? Aircraft means a machine which can derive support in atmosphere, blah 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 blah. You all know, very well know what do you mean by aircraft. For academic interest, you may go through this definition which was given in 2 subsection 1 of the Aircraft Act of 1934. So mind you, there is also an act called as the Aircraft Act, which was enacted in the pre-independence era in the year 1934, and till now we are following that act. Till now it is in vogue. You all know what do you mean by an airport. Hyderabad airport or Gannavaram airport or Rajahmundry airport. You know what do you mean by airport. So airport means where landing and taking off area for aircrafts, and there will be runways, there will be aircraft maintenance, there will be passenger facilities including the aerodrome as defined in section 2 subsection 2 of Aircraft Act 1934, and this has been defined in section 2b of the Airports Authority of India 1994. Now, exemptions provided by government. We refer to many entries of the notification relating to the services provided by the government. Now, whether all the services provided by the government are exempt or not? No, all the services provided by the government are not exempt. For example, we already referred services by Department of Post in respect of Speed Post, Express Parcel Post, LIC and agency services. Yeah, apart from these services, other services provided by the Department of Post is exempt. It is not chargeable to GST. Now, B point we have seen, C point we have seen, and also this point is entry number 7, means to a business entity other than where up to 20 lakhs it will be exempt. Special category states it will be 10 lakhs. There are 11 special category states, somewhere we have learnt in our preceding classes. Now we will define what do you mean by government and what do you mean by local authority. So government means central government, where we have defined in the CGST Act 2 subsection 53. Now when it comes to SGST or UTGST Act, there what do you mean by government? That respective state government or that respective union territory. Sorry, for union territory there will be somebody else. For state government, that respect to state government. In respect of a union territory having legislation, you have two states. For those two states, the that state government. But as far UTGST is concerned, government means the administrator or the authority or officer authorized to act as an administrator by the central government. Now, regulatory bodies are agencies. For example, Competition Commission of India, Press Council of India, Director General of Civil Aviation, Forward Market Commission, Inland Water Supply Authority, Central Pollution Control Board, SEBI, do not fall under the definition of government. You should understand that they do not fall. They are not governments. They are government agencies or regulatory bodies. Now, what do you mean by local authority? Local authority is defined in section 2 subsection 69 of the CGST Act, and means local authority means a panchayat, a municipality, a municipal committee or Jilla Parishad or a district board, a cantonment board, a regional council or district council, a development board constituted under the Article 371 or 371G of the Constitution, and a regional councils which are constituted under 371E of the Constitution. So local authority means only those which are listed above in the definition. Other bodies, if they are merely described as a local body, it won't be considered as a local authority for the purposes of the above entries which we have discussed. Local authority means only those items like those entities like panchayat, municipalities, cantonment boards, etc., which are as defined in section 2 subsection 69 of the CGST Act, alone will be considered as local authorities, and other authorities like Delhi Development Authority, Ahmedabad Development Authority, Bangalore Development Authority, they are not at all local authorities for the purpose of the above entries. Though they may be called as a local authority by nomenclature, they will never be considered as a local authority because they do not fall under the definition as given in section 2 subsection 69 of the CGST Act. Now, services provided to a business entity. Here we have discussed at length. The threshold limit is 20 lakhs for other than special category states and 10 lakhs for special category states. If it is up to that, other than entries of A, B, C of entry number 6, all other services by government will be exempt. in respect of these entities, and also renting of immovable property is not exempt, it is chargeable. Now what are the 11 special category states? They are Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Jammu Kashmir, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, Tripura, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand. These are the 11 special category states. Now, this other specified renting of immovable property, this we have already dealt with. Actually, if any supply of service by the government is made to a business entity, it has to be payable on reverse charge. That we already know. Here, if the turnover does not exceed the threshold limit of 20 lakhs or 10 lakhs, now GST is not payable. If the turnover exceeds 20 lakhs or 10 lakhs, as the case may be for other business entities, GST is payable, but GST is payable under reverse charge. Okay. However, reverse charge provisions are not applicable to renting of immovable property provided to unregistered person. Suppose if this entity's turnover did not exceed 20 lakhs, it did not get the registration. So in such a case, the renting of immovable property reverse charge provisions is not applicable to the unregistered persons. They need not pay. And also the reverse charge is not applicable to specified services, that is A, B, C of entry number 6. Reverse charge is not applicable, their forward charge is there. Now, a small business entity is carrying on business relating to consulting engineer service in Delhi. Aggregate turnover in the preceding year did not exceed 20 lakhs. Therefore, no GST is payable by the services received by it from the government or local authority. Government means central government, state government, union territory, or the local authority. Now, coming to services provided by Department of Posts. Entry number 6. What it says? Services by way of speed posts, express parcel post, life insurance, provide and agency services provided by the Department of Posts. Other than to government or union territory, they are not exempt, they are chargeable. And also the agency service means distribution of mutual funds, bonds, passport application, collection of telephone bills, electricity bills. If they are done on commission basis, then it is called as agency service. These agency service are also liable to GST. These are forward charges. These are forward charges. Now, the Department of Post provide other services like basic mail service, like postcard, inland letter, book post, registered post, etc. These are not chargeable. Also, transfer of money through money orders, SB accounts, postal orders, pension payments, like these other services which the Department of Post carry out are not subjected to GST. Services provided by one department of the government to another department of the government. Now, this is exempt under entry number 8. We have already gone through the entry number 8. What does entry number 8 state? This is government, state government, union territory, local authority to another central government, state government, union territory, local. But this is not applicable to ABC of entry number 6. That we have already understood. Next. Services by government authority by way of an activity in relation to any function entrusted to panchayat. These are the initial entries, entry number 4 and 5. Entry number 4 and 5. For functions entrusted to any government authority, functions entrusted to municipality under 243W, functions entrusted to a panchayat 243G. If instead of municipality or the panchayat, any other government authority which has been established is carrying out such functions, then there is exemption. Now, what are the functions entrusted to municipality under article number 243W? They are urban planning, including town planning, roads, bridges, public health, then sanitation, solid waste management, fire service, slum improvement, culture upgradation and promotion of culture, education, aesthetic aspects, urban amenities like parks, gardens, playgrounds, public amenities, including street light, parking lot, bus stops, what not, whatever your municipality or your panchayat does. These are all the items which are the function that the functions which are entrusted to municipalities. And what are the functions entrusted to panchayats under Article 243G? Agriculture, including agriculture extension, animal husbandry, dairy and poultry, fisheries, small scale industries, including food processing industries, drinking water, fuel, fodder, rural electrification, including distribution of electricity, health and sanitation, including hospitals, primary health centers, dispensaries, women and child development, public distribution system, etc. These are all the functions which are entrusted to panchayat under Article 243G. But what has happened? A government authority has been established to carry out these functions, for which some money is collected, consideration. That consideration is exempt from GST. So friends, I think we have come to an end of this session, and from the next page onwards, or from the services provided by police security agencies of government to PSUs, corporate entities, sports event held by private entities. Now coming to this entry, this also, police is a government department. Security agencies of governments are also government. If they provide service to PSUs, corporate entities, means this is a service provided by government to a business entity. The PSUs, corporate entities, sports event held by private entities, these are all business entities. So these are not exempt by virtue of entry number 6, point number D, right? So we will learn about this topic in the next class.